My name is Wayman Armstrong of Engineering and Computer Simulations, ECS, and what an honor it is for me to be here and to represent the modeling, simulation, and training industry. My mother moved here with her 2 sons nearly 40 years ago, like so many others looking for a better life for her and her children. I was blessed enough to go through high school and college attending UCF. And then like so many, I left. I wanted to go where I thought the action was, and I moved away. What brought me back over 16 years ago was not the fact that my wife and I wanted to live in Central Florida or that we wanted to raise our kids here, which we are. What brought me home was the simulation industry. Here is where the action was and is. This was the place to be if you wanted to work in modeling, simulation, training, and has only grown exponentially since then. I could not imagine that I would have the good fortune to both work in Central Florida and be in simulation. Who even knew what that was back then? Now we're not just known nationally, but internationally as the center of simulation. As I prepared for this, I thought of all the simulations that I've had the pleasure to work on. Every one of them not just making a difference for the men and women at ECS, but more importantly, for the warfighter and the first responder. What personally stands out to me is the TC3 game, the Tactical Combat Casualty Care game. It uses critical thinking and decision-making to train combat medics. In Vietnam, when a soldier was wounded, in that first hour, that platinum hour, 24% of those men died. Now with the war winding down, that percentage is down to 6%. Most of that can be attributed to body armor, but also to medical care and the treatment that's come through simulation training. We have trained at ECS over 100,000 combat medics and Navy corpsmen. Why is it so personal to me? Because I'm the son of a combat medic who proudly served our country in World War II. You've heard from General Baptiste talk about the technology assets that we have here in the high-tech corridor, from the Space Coast to Tampa Bay and beyond. As an entrepreneur, the only constant is uncertainty as we face technology, social, and cultural changes. But we have seen nothing that what has prepared us for what is going on currently in Washington, D.C. with the budget issues. We cannot stand idle and let forces we cannot control increase the odds for losing this nucleus of men and women who are vital to our national defense interest, much less its impact on the local economy. We cannot control actions of the Congress, but we can plead our case to our delegation. We cannot control the decisions of the DoD, but we can evangelize the vital contributions of Team Orlando to them. On the other hand, as many of you in the delegation and your predecessors have done, we can work together to solve the most significant obstacle to preserving the industry, building space. As General Baptiste mentioned, providing adequate space at a reasonable cost to the Team Orlando commands is the essential element of every discussion, review, and proposal conducted so far. This is the same process that led us to build Partnership 1, 2, and 3 at UCF. Shared facilities that enhance the DoD's ability to accomplish the task and do it at a reasonable cost. Team Orlando tells us candidly that over 200,000 square feet of rental space is leased by DoD at an annual amount near $5 million. If these personnel were in DoD's or the UCF Partnerships Complex, the rates would be the same UCF charges its own entities and also the funds DoD would budget internally. In addition, we have learned with confidence that the commands could easily expand and need 100,000 additional square feet. Some of that expansion is already happening in nearby states. So we must act to utilize the only solution to our challenge, over which all of us in this room exercise some degree of influence, the state appropriations process. I speak today on behalf of the Metropolitan Orlando Defense Task Force, Mayor Jacobs' Blue Ribbon Task Force, the Central Florida Task Force, Orlando Inc., and everyone in Central Florida and the state impacted by the modeling, simulation, and training cluster. We implore you, the delegation, represent all of Central Florida to help us retain this industry jewel. The 300 square feet need represents the substantial completion of the partnership complex in the Central Florida Research Park. President Hitt at UCF has pledged to configure this new space if the funds, $60 million, are secured. With proper legislative direction, these funds can be phased. However, the most important message to send to DOD is that we are proceeding with a solution. This modern of technology, anchor for Central Florida, would not be here today if it weren't for the partnership buildings and UCF. You and your predecessors deserve the credit for that. Now we ask you to invest again to preserve this important asset. As I wrap up, I will share some good news, an example of the type of cutting-edge work being done in Central Florida in modeling simulation. You're aware that the Veterans Affairs is building their 152nd facility across the country out in the medical city at Lake Nona. But I didn't know, and I'm announcing today, that they're building their 153rd facility, a virtual medical center. That's right, a virtual medical center that exists 24/7, 365 through their national system of veterans that you can go ahead and access as an avatar, a 3D representation that you would be able to receive treatment without being there physically. This would help serve not just diabetics, wounded warriors, but also the men and women who suffer from post-traumatic stress, just like my father did. We are at ECS are excited about winning this project, and we look forward to show it at our ITSIC conference coming up December 2nd through the 5th. And I know personally that I'll have a new personal favorite. Thank you for all you do to make Central Florida such a great place to live and work. We know we can never simulate it. Thank you.